and welcome back to the 410. My name is Adrian, host, and it's a big day going down here in the NFL draft tonight. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about that. I got to talk about the Orioles, unfortunately. We're going to get into them here in a second. Of course, NBA playoffs going down round one. We're going to talk about those games that happened the last 2 days. And then, of course, we got to get into the night's games and then get into some picks tonight. Before we get into that, K-Hill Electrical on standby for any electrical needs, whether they're big, small. Let them know exactly what you need. Let them know you heard about them here on the 410. And you're almost going to get that thing done for free. I'm trying to tell you. They're going to come through with great service and the best price in town. All right, the Orioles, we're going to touch on them real quick because I love them. And my goodness, no matter what they're going through, I got to go through it with them. But they haven't been able to shake that massacre on Easter Day yet. They went back out, the Nationals, shut them out the next day. Of course, I told you Mr. Parker only gave up one home run all year, so I wasn't expecting us to do that much damage to him, but we didn't do much of anything. He went through 8 innings, pretty much unscathed. My goodness, we got to get over that shock. We went back out yesterday, and we tried. We lost that game 4-3. We at least tried. We looked like we starting to get over the shock of that Easter Day game. And so, of course, we play again tonight. Mr. K. Povich going to take the mound. He hasn't won a start yet this year. He's 0-2, so I'm hoping he gets his first win tonight. I hope we can shake those cobwebs that we got in our head right now, and we'll be able to get back on track. Of course, the Nationals, they've been looking pretty good, but they're not the strongest team in the league, so we shouldn't be struggling with them. I already know, like I said, the shock and awe of that Easter Day game has killed our psyche, and we need to get it back. But I can promise you this, 100% on Monday, when we go up against the Yankees, I promise you, you'll see me down there at the stadium and make my way as far down to the dugout as possible, and I'm going to get some answers here for the 410. I ain't going to lie to you. I promise I'm going live. You're going to see me down there, and I'm going to figure this thing out for us because I can't go through a 160-game season like this, y'all. I can't do it. All right, let's get into the NFL draft tonight. Of course, I'm ready to go, ready to see the next superstar in town. Of course, we got to wait a couple of picks before we get going. We got some big names up at the front of the list here to talk about here real quick. I talked about Travis Hunter. Man, I wish we could figure out a way to get him. I know there's no way. Cam Ward, he'll be going to Tennessee. That's already pretty much signed and sealed. That next pick there's been a couple people trying to figure out a way to jump in the mix there because I already know exactly who they want. They want Travis Hunter. He's going to be your number 2 pick. Unfortunately, he's going to be going to the Browns. And then things start getting dicey at number 3. I can't see Abdul Carter going any further than 3. And then after that, it's going to be a whole bunch of teams happy because they're going to get a whole bunch of value at their pick. So this is going to be one of the drafts where you sit back, you wait for the people in front of you to go, and you take the best value in front of you because there's a lot of moving pieces here. Shedeur Sanders, I'm telling y'all now, if he make his way down the draft board and see our name on the clock, my goodness, we better bring him in there and back up Lamar with Shedeur Sanders and teach him the ropes. That'll be the best backup quarterback in the league. I'll take that value right there in round 1. The Ravens, of course, we've been juggling a lot, making some moves here in the offseason already. Of course, we need to add some good talent to the roster. So I was looking at where we pick at there in the first round. There's a lot of value going to be there. So it could be a safety. I know there's a couple people looking at the boy from Georgia. I like his game. There's a couple other good players there that we can pick up in the secondary. And then, of course, we got some great linemen and stuff. If any of them fall, we got to take a lineman. So we got a lot of options for the draft. I'm looking forward to it. I hope I see you at one of the draft parties. I'm going to be bouncing around, checking things out in town. Of course, we got to get our hopes up and our spirits up here. We lost the Super Bowl run. Now the Orioles trying to lose our World Series run for us. I know it's early in the year, but we got to get our hopes up here on the baseball side of things. So hopefully we'll hit a home run tonight in the draft, and we'll be here to talk about that tomorrow. Let's get into the NBA action. Of course, we're going to get caught right back up. So let's get right into Tuesday's game. The Pacers, they beat the Bucks here. Of course, it was Dame's first game back. It looked like it was his first game back. There's plenty of beef in this series. This one is one of those series you got to watch just because the temperature is really high. Bobby Portis, he might slap somebody at any given minute. I love to watch that intensity here in the playoffs. But if Dame can get his footing, this series could go a little longer. But my goodness, if he can't, It's going to be a sweep here for Indiana because they're running away with this thing here. They won this game 123 to 115. Next game up was the Thunder going up against the Grizzlies. Of course, the Grizzlies lost by 50 the game before. Didn't expect to see that anymore. But the Grizzlies, they look like they're outmatched here with the Thunder. My goodness, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he didn't even have a good game. They lost by a dub here, almost 19 points. They lost 118 to 99. Oklahoma, my goodness, they're rolling again. I don't see anybody stopping them anytime soon. Next game up was the Lakers going up against the Timberwolves. Of course, I told you the Lakers had to win this game, or they had definitely been worrying about getting swept by Ant in the game. They won this game 94 to 85. This game was not as close as it looked like it was at the end here. The Lakers, they were up by almost 20. Ant and them would make a run. The Lakers would make a run back, push that lead back up. I like this series going a little longer than 5 games here, so I don't know what Shannon Sharp was talking about. And speaking of Shannon Sharp, things getting rough for him over there. But anyway, he was talking about this thing going 4-1. Yeah, I don't think it's going 4-1. I think this will be a longer series than that. Let's get into last night's NBA action. First game up was Boston going up against the Magic. Jason Tatum, he was scratched. My cousin Caldwell Pope tried to take him out on a flagrant foul. He got booed every time he touched the ball last night. But Jaylen Brown, he let the coach know, Coach, I got you. I'm going to do everything it takes to win the game. And that's exactly what he did. He scored 36. They got the job done 109 to 100. My pick was the Magic plus the points without Tatum here in this game. And that was good here. The next game was Cavaliers going up against Miami Heat. Of course, the Cavs have looked shaky all through the end of the last of the year here. So it's not surprising that they had a little trouble with Miami in this game. They pulled away because Spider Mitchell, that's what he does here. They won this game 121 to 112. They didn't cover their spread. Of course, I had Cleveland in this game because I don't have any confidence in Miami, but they didn't get the job done for it. Next game was the Rockets going up against the Warriors. Of course, my pick was Golden State in this game. The Rockets, they lost the first game here by almost 20. Golden State, they were looking to keep the things going just the same way. But Jimmy Butler, he hurt himself in this game. The Rockets ended up pulling this thing out 109-94. Jimmy Butler left the game. He didn't return. We got to see what's going on with Jimmy because, of course, if Jimmy doesn't play, that's a whole different story over there for Golden State. And that's the end of my pick for the first round. Golden State moving on. Tonight's game, we got 3 on tap. First game up, Detroit going up against the Knicks. Of course, Detroit just shook that curse. 17-game losing streak in the playoffs to the Knicks. The Knicks, they got to fight back here. Stephen A. is calling out Karl Anthony Towns. Of course, like I told you, with the big boys, the Viking warlord down there, Mr. Dern, and Beef Stew, he's a game-time decision. With them boys going at Cat, I told you, there ain't gonna a whole lot Cat can be doing about that. Those boys ain't playing around with him. But tonight, New York is favored by 1.5 to win the game. I'm not going for it. I'm taking Detroit plus the 1.5 because, of course, I got Detroit winning this series because of exactly that. I feel like Detroit much more physical, than New York is. And because those big boys are beating up on Cat down there, I don't think he's going to be able to get off the same way that he normally does. Next game up, big game here for the Grizzlies going up against the Thunder. The Grizzlies at home, thank God. I know they're glad they got out of Oklahoma alive because, man, it was getting rough for them down there. Ja, he's going to have nothing but a point to prove tonight. And unfortunately, I can't go for it here. Oklahoma, they got to win by 9.5 here, and that's exactly who I'm taking because Oklahoma, they 6-0 against the spread here in the last 6 games, and I don't see anything stopping them from doing the same here tonight. Of course, Ja, he's going to put up a fight. Desmond Bain, he's going to have to play a little better, but after them two right there, what else do they have to bring to the table? Oklahoma's bringing every single person they found in Oklahoma in the last 3 years, 4 years. They bringing them to the table, and they all coming together, and they doing their thing now, Oklahoma. Nobody wants to play them. We've been talking about them for weeks, and ain't nothing changed. Next game up, big game of the night, the Clippers going up against the Nuggets. Of course, Kawhi Leonard, he's been acting a fool over there in L.A. I'm telling you, if that's what's going on, the Denver Nuggets, they're going to get disposed of here in this round here. You can't believe it. They're champs and all that, but I'm telling you, Michael Porter looks like his knee isn't 100%. He's a game-time decision tonight. Kawhi is healthy. James Harden is doing his thing. You got Norm Powell being aggressive. You got Bogdanovich coming off the bench hitting some threes. You got Zubac doing nothing but double-double action down there. That's a whole lot for the Nuggets to deal with. Jokic, of course, he's doing his thing, but I don't think they're going to hold up. The Clippers, unfortunately, they're favored by 5.5 points tonight. I don't know what they're thinking, but I think this game will be a little closer than that. I'm at least give the champs a little bit more credit than that. I'm going to take Denver plus that 5.5. But like I said, I got Clippers winning the series, so it wouldn't surprise me if they ran away with this game. Thank you for tuning in today. Of course, big night tonight, NFL draft, so get your popcorn ready. It's going to be a lot of action to see tonight. A lot of stars going to be born tonight. A lot of people going to be happy. There's going to be a lot of people being sad tonight about their pick. My best bet right now is the Giants, they're going to be upset either way it goes, because it looks like they're going to end up getting a defender, and they know that they need a quarterback out there. Ain't nobody going for that Russell Wilson stuff. You already know that. Thank you once again. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe this. We're going to keep it growing here on the 410. I appreciate all the love and support. Please reach out to your family and friends. Make sure they're doing okay. This is Adrian here on the 410.